Some people look younger than their age, and surprisingly, it's not always genetics. Sometimes, the way a person handles stress, emotions, and life quietly changes how fast they age. And if you've ever looked at someone and thought, they haven't changed in years, there's usually something deeper happening beneath the surface. Because aging is not only biological, it's psychological too. You can often see a person's emotional life written across their face long before they speak. Some people carry tension in their jaw, exhaustion in their eyes, heaviness in the way they move. Others seem strangely untouched by time. Not perfect, not flawless, just lighter somehow, softer, more emotionally alive. And psychology may explain more of that than people realize. The first hidden reason some people look younger than their age is that their nervous system spends less time living in survival mode. Most people underestimate what chronic stress actually does to the body. Stress is not only mental pressure, it slowly becomes physical. When the mind constantly feels unsafe, overwhelmed, emotionally exhausted, or emotionally trapped, the body reacts as if danger never fully disappears. The muscles stay tense, sleep becomes shallow, the face loses relaxation, even small emotional burdens start accumulating over years. You can often see it in people who overthink everything. Their forehead tightens more, their eyes carry fatigue even after resting. Their body language becomes defensive without them noticing. Emotional stress changes facial expression patterns over time, and repeated expressions slowly become part of a person's appearance. This is why two people of the same age can look completely different emotionally and physically. One person may spend years constantly anxious, emotionally burnt out, unable to mentally switch off. Another person may still struggle in life, but emotionally processes things in a calmer way. They recover faster after stress. They don't stay emotionally trapped inside every problem for weeks. And because their nervous system experiences more moments of safety and relaxation, their face often reflects that. People call it looking youthful, but sometimes it's simply the absence of prolonged emotional exhaustion. And this becomes more visible with age. Youth is not always about smooth skin. Sometimes it's about emotional looseness, a face that still knows how to relax, eyes that don't constantly look mentally tired. The second hidden reason is emotional openness and curiosity. There's something psychologically interesting about people who remain emotionally curious about life. They often age differently. Not because they are pretending to stay young, but because emotionally they never become completely rigid. Some people slowly become emotionally closed after disappointment. Life hardens them. They stop laughing naturally. They stop feeling interested in new experiences. Conversations become repetitive. Their emotional world becomes smaller. And over time, bitterness quietly changes the energy of their face. You can actually notice this in daily life. Some people in their 40s or 50s still carry emotional warmth in the way they react to small things. They smile with their eyes. They stay mentally flexible. They still feel genuine curiosity. And psychologically, curiosity keeps the brain and emotions more active, engaged, and responsive. Meanwhile, emotional heaviness often creates psychological fatigue that eventually becomes visible physically. People who constantly suppress emotion also tend to carry more unconscious facial tension. They may appear emotionally distant even when they don't mean to. Their expressions become flatter, more guarded, more tired over time. But emotionally open people often maintain more expressive faces, softer emotional reactions, and more relaxed social behavior. Their body language feels lighter. Their presence feels younger even if their actual age is not. And this is important because perceived age is deeply connected to emotional energy. Sometimes a person does not technically look younger. They simply feel more emotionally alive than others around them. And human beings naturally associate emotional vitality with youth. The third hidden reason is emotional peace. Not happiness all the time, not a perfect life. Just inner emotional balance. There are people who constantly carry invisible emotional weight, old resentment, constant comparison, silent anger, unhealed stress, and even when they hide it socially, the body still experiences that emotional tension internally. Psychologists often talk about how emotions that remain unresolved continue affecting the nervous system long after the original situation ends. The body remembers emotional pressure even when the mind tries to ignore it. And over years, emotional heaviness changes the way people carry themselves. Sleep becomes less restorative. Facial muscles remain tense more often. The eyes lose softness. Even posture changes. A person may not notice it happening slowly, but emotionally accumulated stress often becomes physically visible with time. Meanwhile, emotionally peaceful people usually have something different about them. They don't react intensely to every situation. They don't mentally chase every conflict. They recover emotionally instead of endlessly reliving problems in their head. And that emotional regulation affects appearance more than people think. Peaceful people often breathe slower, sleep deeper, hold less tension in their face and shoulders. Their expressions remain softer for longer, because emotionally, they are not constantly fighting invisible battles inside themselves. This is why sometimes the youngest-looking people are not the ones obsessing over youth the most. They are simply the people whose minds learned how to carry life with less internal friction. And strangely, people can feel this immediately. You've probably met someone who looked younger than their age, not because of makeup, skincare, or fashion, but because their presence felt emotionally light. Their face still carried softness instead of emotional wear. Because aging is not only about years passing, it's also about what the mind repeatedly carries. Stress leaves marks, bitterness leaves marks, emotional exhaustion leaves marks, but so do peace, emotional flexibility, calmness, rest, curiosity, and the ability to emotionally let go. And maybe that's why some people seem untouched by time, not because life was easier for them, but because emotionally they learned how not to let every experience harden them.